Good afternoon. Hello, Susan and Mercy and Phil. It's good to see you all. What's up? It's Colby here on a delightful Wednesday afternoon in San Diego, California. And this is my live show, Perspective Shift. Usually this show is a spin-off of my morning Perspective Shift newsletter on Wednesday morning, my weekly newsletter. But last week and this week, I didn't send one out. Look, I reserve the right to occasionally not send out an article. But it's usually pretty consistent. Wednesday mornings, sign up for my newsletter and get an article from me on things like religion, spirituality, psychology, etc. And then I come in on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. to go live on my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. And that's where I join you. And that's where we get to sort of hang out together and talk about the things that I write about or that I'm musing about, or what you want to talk about, what you're musing about. That's what the comment section is for. I see your comments as they come in and your questions. What up, Corey? Groove Master. Oh, did you like that opening song? Good. I'm glad. Yes, Karen, you're here. You get to now learn what are the 11 things I don't understand. So this is something, if you were here with me last week, that I started naming 11 things that I don't understand right now. I didn't get through all of them. I got through 7. So we're going to finish it today. 8, 9, 10, and 11. That's the plan for today. Continue to talk about the 11 things that I don't understand. Things that I'm confused about. But nonetheless, here we are. Welcome to Perspective Shift. That's an excellent point, Phil. There are more than 11 things that I don't understand, but for the sake of this experience, I just thought of 11. But I suppose if you were to count up all the things I don't understand, it would probably get to like 16. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And actually, one of them y'all helped me understand last week, which is kind of cool. So if there's any of these things that I don't understand that you do, or that you want to put the time into researching, and you want to let us all know in the comment section, yeah, do that. Educate us all. So here is what we did last week. Start here. 11 things I don't understand. Quick recap, but I'm going to go through this quickly because we have things to get to for today. So last week, I started sharing 11 things I don't understand. And number 1 was, why is the snooze button 9 minutes long? Have you ever noticed this? No matter the clock or even the phone, hit that snooze button, 9 minutes later, your alarm goes off. Why? But y'all did some researching on the sides. You opened up another browser window, another tab, and you told me the answer to it. And I'm grateful for that. So now I can actually take that. Phil, now I'm down to 10 things I don't understand, because I understand now why the snooze button is 9 minutes long. Then number 2, the second thing I didn't understand is, why did children grow up so fast? Nobody could help me with this one. I mean, there were some good ideas, such as that as we get older, our sense of time is compressed, and so it feels. But I just want to know why the heck my kids aren't babies anymore. Even, you don't have to be babies; just be like a toddler or a little kid. My youngest is 9. It's not really a little kid anymore. Ugh, brutal. Then there was number 3. I don't understand why assault rifles are still legal. Why, when over a quarter of the mass shootings in the last decade or so are all because of this unnecessary weapon? Why is this still legal? Okay. Number 4 was, how is it that freaking Tom Brady and LeBron James are still performing at such a high level? For the non-sports people out there, these guys are old. Like, Tom is like, 44? And LeBron might be maybe my age, 38, 37, 30, something like that. And they're still like just beating their opponents. It's amazing to me. So I don't really understand that. I mean, I guess modern medicine and workouts and all that is slightly understandable. Fine. Number 5, I don't understand how people in the United States can deny racism. We're just willfully choosing to ignore this or repress this. Number 6, I don't understand why humans change as they grow. And last week I talked a bit about, like, I didn't used to have any allergic reactions to like any skin creams or cleansers, and now I get weird breakouts when I do. I didn't used to have any issues with heights, and yet now when I stand up on tall buildings and look over, I get all queasy. Like, I get that the body sort of changes and the hairs turn gray and the bones ache and the joints are creaky. I get that, but like other aspects of ourselves, why does that change? That's weird to me. I don't understand that. And then we ended, because this one took a good chunk of our time. We ended with, I don't understand what's so great about a God who sends or even just lets people burn forever. Why is that a God worth worshiping? What's so great about that God? So anyway, we had some thoughts that we shared last week. So today, and this might be a shorter program than normal, which is absolutely fine. I don't guarantee it's always going to be an hour. I just try to guarantee that it'll be less than an hour. So let's get into to number 8. The eighth thing that I don't understand. I don't understand why people talk through movies. So I get that maybe this is slightly less relevant because we're in this, we're still in pandemic world, and movie theaters, well, they're open, but kind of only sort of. Like, we're obviously not in full theater mode yet. Although, side note, I just got an email from AMC Movie Theater that did you know they're renting out, you can rent out a theater now for relatively inexpensive. You can get a whole theater for your friends and family. I think it's like $250 to watch a new release and like $100 to watch an older movie. So that's fun. Anyway, but so have you ever, and if you are a talker through the movie, then I just want you to know I love you. I just don't understand you. So there's been a few times in my life where I've gone to the theater, and maybe in your own living room is a little bit different, fine, but in like a theater, I don't know why I'm pronouncing it like that, and you're watching a movie and the person next to you like is talking out loud, like they might be responding to the things that are happening in the movie, or they might just be like talking to you about the movie. And it's happened to me a couple times where I'm with a person who's just a chatter throughout the movie, and I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm not meaning to shame or judge. I just don't understand. Like, you know that everyone can hear you. Like, that's weird. But then 2, like, why are you talking through watch the movie? So I don't understand that. But would you just let me know if you're a person who has some self-awareness and you're like, I kind of talk it through movies. Again, I love you. You're welcome here. Do you have a thought on why that is? Or maybe you're like me, like, have you had that experience where you've seen a movie with a talker? Do you have any thoughts on maybe why they talk through movies? Yeah. Yes. Well, okay. So Phil, that's the thing is, like, I've been to movies with people who they respond to. So are you saying, Phil, you do that? You talk to the person on the screen? Don't go in there. He's going to kill you. Or are you just giving an example? Karen says, especially when they ask, why is she doing that? Question is, I don't know. I'm trying to find out too. Yes. We're all living in this state of mystery and wonder. So keep your hopefully rhetorical questions to yourself. Oh, yeah, Mercy. That my worst parenting is when my kids talk during shows. Yeah. Kids. I'm trying to think if our kids aren't really movie talk. They actually, if one of the 4 kids is a little bit loud, the other 3 will shut it down real fast. So I think they've sort of been raised by osmosis, maybe by just in their genes to have zero tolerance for extra chatter during shows. Yeah, that's a good point, Melanie. It's very hard for some people to give up control of space. Let yourself retract. You must decrease so that the movie may increase. Thank you, John the Baptist. No, laughing doesn't count as talking. Laughers are good unless it's laughing at the wrong parts. I guess I've been to movies with those people too. Like, what? That's not funny. Don't laugh at that part. Which is actually one of my kids. laughs every time someone on screen gets hurt. He just thinks that's the funniest thing ever. So I don't know. Say what you will about my parenting. Okay, that's it for number 8. Let's go to number 9. The 9th thing I don't understand. And I know this is dated at this point. In fact, I hesitated even putting this one in here because I've made a relatively low key commitment to not really think about or talk about this individual since, the election and inauguration. So I did contemplate not putting this in there, but when I reflect on things that I don't understand right now, the things that really leave me just scratching my head, I still don't understand not just Trump as an individual, because I think you could sort of imagine a fairly accurate portrait of what it would have been like for him to grow up in that family and what that sort of environment does to the psychosis of a person who is very entitled and wealthy, and probably was never shown a type of love growing up, and so spent the rest of his life just clamoring for it and trading in love for things like control and power and manipulation. Because when you don't feel like you're worthy of love, when you don't feel like you can, what love is, you don't really know how to ask for it or how to get it or definitely how to give it. And so you end up substituting other things for it, like the aforementioned power and control, and certainly money. Cannot serve two masters. You will either worship one and be a servant to the other. So on some level, yeah, I can understand in my very sort of armchair psychologist, I can kind of get that, but I'm still struggling to understand the widespread support of this individual to run our country and to be our leader, and still struggling to understand all these years later the massive support that he found within the Christian community, where I was raised in what I thought was a fairly prototypical conservative evangelical flavored Christian context. And the person of Trump seems to be like an egregious and obvious stereotype of everything that was sort of anti-Christian, anti our faith. So then to have this experience of him being overwhelmingly supported by a majority of those who came from my faith tradition, I'm still like, the whiplash is still with me. And my wife and I, almost said my Kate and I, she is my Kate. My wife and I had what I think was a pretty good discussion around this on our podcast, Kate and Colby Show, a couple of months ago, when John Piper, I don't know if you guys know that name, John Piper wrote an article kind of reflecting on what I just shared a little bit there about how Trump does not represent what Christianity represents. And I felt really refreshed by it. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like that's what I expected. And I'm not giving any cookies to John Piper, BT dubs. It's just, that was a dart that I feel he threw accurately. But my wife had a totally different reaction to it. And we had this fascinating conversation where, for her growing up in the same tradition that I did, she took very different messages from what it meant to be in our religion. So anyway, I'd encourage you to go, if you're curious about that, go check that out. Again, that's the Kate and Colby Show. But still, I find myself, I just don't understand. And I get some of the things that people have given as explanations, like how much of our country sort of economically felt forgotten or left behind. And so Trump kind of tapped into that, I don't know, that zeitgeist. And I'm sure that white supremacy and just sort of the demanding of holding on to this perceived loss, I know all that plays into it. I guess just all the things that I've heard have not felt, even all put together, all of the rationales and the explanations all put together hasn't felt still satisfactory. And I just don't, there won't be, I get that. I submit that I will never understand this. I just won't. I won't understand that phenomenon. But okay. Anyways, I see you guys, you people have shared some here. So I'm just checking in. Yeah, Mercy's like, Trump, still don't get it. Yeah, same Merce, same. Yeah, Susan. And will we ever quit saying his name? Like I said, I've got a low key commitment to quit. I had to be honest that when I think of the things I don't understand, like I couldn't not add him on there. I question everything now. I know, Melissa, this is what these last 4 years have done to many of us. Yeah, Jennifer, I love this insight. The issue for me is that he convinced so many people that he's common folk by falsely empathizing with them to gain their trust. I totally accept that as one of the reasons why he sort of got into the minds of people. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Melanie. You need more blood pressure medication. Yes, I know. Try to go through my days without thinking about him. Yeah. The struggle is real. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Oh, Kevin, are you the Episcopal Kevin? Did you change your profile picture? Or is this a different Kevin Johnson? Maybe this is the Kevin Johnson who was a point guard for the Phoenix Suns back in the 90s. KJ, are you watching? I know many who supported Trump, and it seems primarily due to the fear of the extreme left, socialism, and abortion. I heard him described as the strong man protecting the gate. I figure if Trump is your strong man, you need a new strong man. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm with you, and I agree that there are sort of lots of micro reasons. I guess I'll call them micro reasons, micro explanations. Some people just will only ever vote for the party or the person that seems to be pro-life. Although that's a whole different conversation, right? What actually is pro-life? But anyway, yeah. So when you have one candidate who is outspokenly for keeping the right to have an abortion a legal right, and you have one who I guess isn't, yeah, that's millions of people right there. So, and that's what I need to, at some point, I just need to settle into. Some of these explanations aren't real. They're not that deep. They're just voting party, voting a single issue. And I just don't understand why he wasn't enough to push people past some of those things. Yeah. Phil says, I think there's been a huge movement of anti-politics as usual growing for years. I think ever since Bush Sr. broke faith on his famous no new taxes speech. Yeah, that's a good point. This, and that's actually, I have a lot of sympathy. Like I agree that politics as usual. I like the idea of having an outsider. I did. In the Democratic primaries, I was a big fan of Andrew Yang. For partly for that reason. Like, what if we just didn't have somebody who was sort of raised in this political machination? And so I think, yeah, I absolutely think you're right that his sort of perceived outsider made people think like drain the swamp. Of course, he just made the swamp swampier. But yeah, Karen, yeah, I totally agree. Fear. That's my whole closest I can get to understanding is I'll calm down to fear. I don't think you're wrong at all. All right. It is the Episcopal KJ. All right. Well, if you know the point guard for the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Johnson, let him know I said hi. Yeah. Why is a snake oil salesman able to sell snake oil? Yeah. Angelo, you're not wrong. It is a skill, and he clearly has it and has had it his entire life. Some people are really good at selling snake oil, and lots of people are really good at buying it. All right, moving on. That is plenty of that conversation. Let's go to number 10. I don't understand why the heck is social media so controlling? Now, this actually can go in a couple different ways, right? So one way that this could mean why is it so controlling is that the current Silicon Valley right now has just a ton of power over controlling the algorithms. So what you see in your social media feeds, what you see on YouTube, ton of power there. They have a ton of power in terms of being like gatekeepers for who has violated their terms of agreement and who hasn't, who's deemed hate speech and who's not, who's a threat and who's not. So that's a ton of power. And I feel like a lot of us on the left, and this is a gross mischaracterization, oversimplification, but I feel like a lot of us on the left are just like, yeah, cool. Take it away, Silicon Valley. We trust you to be good gatekeepers and to edit these things well. Like, I don't think any of us really articulate it like that, but I do get that sense. So they have a lot of control and a lot of power, and I don't understand that. That's one way to take it. But the other way, the main way that this was coming up for me recently is like from in my own life. Why is it so controlling in my own life? Why do I open up Facebook like once an hour just to see if there's any more red little notifications? Why do I open up Instagram anytime I have a lull in life? I have nothing to do. Nothing's happening. I know, I'll just open up Instagram. Why is this thing have that much control over me? And I can even think I'm doing well and take my phone and like set it in the other room. I mean, like, I'm done with you for the night. Like, stay away from me. And then inevitably I'll find something. It's time to put the kids to bed. I should probably grab my phone and check social. Like, have I gotten any new likes lately? Any new followers? And I don't like that. And I've not figured it out yet. So anyway, I don't understand why it's so controlling. Again, there's explanations and the little hits that we get of, the little serotonin hits when we get new likes and all that. So I get there's some psychology there, but at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, this is a thing. It just has too much power in my life. And for most of my life, I have been extremely capable at not surrendering myself to the influence of other things. I don't know if that made sense. It made sense in my head. Very few things I feel like have much power over me. I'm very good at moderation. But man, every time I try to figure out a better diet with Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, I feel like I'm not gaining a whole lot of ground. And I know that one of the solutions are to just sort of cut it. But I like you. I like being here with you. I like doing this. This brings me life. And even my role as a pastor at Sojourn Grace, or the role that I play as an author, like so much of those worlds are enmeshed with social media. And I get one option is to just pull out. I totally get that. And yet there's real cost. There'd be a real cost to pay for that. So it's not always that simple. I don't know. I get frustrated by this. I'm going to check in to see now if anybody else can relate around this. Real quick, we're going to go back to number 9 because guess who's in the house? It's Yaz Persing. What's up, Yaz? I don't know why I went soft J on you, but I did. Jazz says, I also feel like he represents the blind confidence that people think works in the face of an uncertain world. As someone who doesn't always do a great job, sorry, that 10 seconds was up. Jazz says, as someone who doesn't always do a great job standing up for myself or believe I'm worthy to be in a room, I can be drawn to people who overcorrect the other way. She says, not Trump, thank God, but other narcissistic personalities for sure. I love that observation. That's actually really, I like that a lot. We have always been, and I would say this, as homo sapiens, we have always been drawn towards alpha, towards leader. And that's not bad. It just is. You could almost say we need leaders. This is, there's nothing wrong with that. But man, that can get taken to some real scary, dark, extreme places, right? Especially when the leader is not a good faith leader. Anyways, thanks for sharing that, Jazz. Oh, I just made myself super tiny. So this is a lesson in not forgetting to lock your overlays when you're done with your scenes. I'm going to go ahead and that's fun. You're welcome. Get to see a little bit how the sausage is made. All right. It's good enough for now. I'll move to another scene here in a minute. What else? Yeah, Jennifer, I sense that's part of it too, is that we are stuck on instant gratification. We absolutely, we're in a culture that's like, you want it, you can have it your way right away. And we get bespoke everything. And so I think social media definitely scratches that instant gratification itch. Yeah, Phil, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know why. Maybe I'm resisting it subconsciously, or maybe I just have other things to watch, like The Expanse, which I just finished season 3 of last night. Oh, so good. So good. Oh, Karen understands brain science now. I like podcasts for children. Yeah, Phil Spencer, I've seen that too. Even the higher ups of the social medias know all the tricks, and they also fall prey to it. So we don't know what we're dealing with here. History's going to look back on this massive experiment known as social media, and I don't know that it will be super kind to us. We've really mucked with mass communication in some significant ways over a very short period of time. Scary. The illusion of connection. What's up, Starkovich? Yes, that's part of it too. Illusion of connection. We feel some sort of connection, and it is a sort of connection. This is a sort of connection, and especially in this pandemic year, we've been starved for that. So social media does provide some of that. Yep. Advertising drives so much of this control and addiction. Mercy, in which way? I wonder if you'd say more. Pandemic has completely shifted your social media diet. Has it shifted? I just wonder what shifted in what ways. But it does mean you found us, which is great. So that's a win-win. You're welcome, Jazz. You're welcome. Oh, Kevin. Yes. Love The Expanse too. Oh my gosh. Like I said, I just finished season 3 last night, and it just best season yet. Can't wait to get into seasons 4 and 5, but just makes this little sci-fi heart happy. All right. So anyway, I don't understand why social media is so controlling. Let's go to the final thing that I don't understand. Are you ready? Drum roll. The last thing that I don't understand. Let's do this. If there is an afterlife, who was the first homo sapien to receive admittance? Now, I submit to you that on first blush, this might seem like one of those silly questions about why do people talk through movies and why does snooze button's 9 minutes? But let's think about this for just a little bit. If there is an afterlife, and confession is that I waver between agnostic and optimistically hopeful about what happens when we die. Some days I'm like, no, I think the lights just go out and that's it. And then other days I'm much more, nah, there is a deeper thing going on here. We are somehow these spiritual beings that cannot be destroyed, that somehow will continue to exist in some form. That there is some sort of source, love, God behind it, in it all, and that has to mean that there is just some sort of continued presence, connection, wholeness. Okay. So anyway, just want you to know that I don't have a real specific thought on the afterlife. Although last week we talked about what number 7, what's so great about a God of sin. I do have some thoughts on that, like about hell and the idea of any sort of eternal torment. But you'll have to go check that last week's video to get that. So back to this thing. If there is an afterlife, if there is some sort of experience by which humans finish their earthly existence and then we cease being these sort of beings confined by our skin and bones, and then something exists after that, then I don't, when did that program begin? When did that process get initiated? Because, I mean, for me personally, it's the idea of Adam and Eve is not a historical, literal event. Okay, so God did not create creation 8,000 years ago, beginning with two humans, Adam and Eve. I accept and affirm the science, imperfect as it is, that the universe is billions of years old, and all of life evolved over billions of years. Anyway, so we have these ancient ancestors, multiple different varieties of human species. Check out Noah, Yuval Noah Harari's book, Sapiens, to learn a little bit how our ancestors, the Homo sapiens, were right alongside other varieties of human species, like the Neanderthal and the Denisovans. And Homo sapiens sort of won that race out, won that. Anyway. And so it's at some point we sort of transitioned from this more ape-like creature to the more, version, the Homo sapien version. And what I find myself curious about is if there is an afterlife, are you with me right now? Like, are you understanding where now the curiosity comes in? Like, who was the first of our ancestors who turned the lights off here on this side of the veil, and then the lights came, then was in some sort of afterlife experience? And were they all by themselves? were they like, where am I? Where is everyone? And did he or she just become sort of the default welcomer, the greeter who stood outside the gates welcoming everyone? From that point on, then were the rest of the sapiens given admittance? Guys, this thought exercise, I have lost myself in it multiple times, and I don't understand. It does not make sense to me. I'm gonna, yeah, poor first afterlife human, right? I mean, that's weird. That's weird. All right. Anybody with me on this? Moses? Not a bad theory. Not a bad theory. maybe Saint Mo was the first one. Mercy's like, I'd love to just be worm food after this. I'm tired already. Thanks, Merce. Yes, heresy alert. That is always a possibility here with me. But I know you're kind of joking here. So Jennifer says, even science explains basic transfer energy, which includes the electrical transference with human death. Yeah. Say more about that. I'm with you, but what might you draw from that? So Leah, that's an interesting thought there, that there is a before life. We just forgot it when we came here. It's part of the plan. So there are days when that way of thinking makes a lot of sense to me, that there is just this, I think like what Jennifer was saying, like energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's just sort of transferred, and everything that always was has always been, and we're all part of the same sort of cosmic stardust. And so maybe the thing that makes me now existed in some form. Obviously the matter, the energy part of it has existed, but maybe that soul, that consciousness, maybe that did exist. Maybe I did in previous, and maybe it just will post. And so there's no like heaven after life. There's just sort of next life. I don't know. Maybe that could be. Jennifer, wouldn't someone have to share the story verbally? Do you mean what story are you referring to? Susan says, good reason to not be first in line. Maybe that's why Jesus said the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Maybe the first few sapiens that got admittance was like, yeah, you can just, it sucks to be first. Just hang tight for a bit. We'll let some more folks in. It's like the first person to get into the club. Like the club just opens up. I don't know why I'm talking as though I'm a great club goer, but I can imagine the first people in the club are like, just sort of, oh, it's just us. Oh, cool party. Yes, Starkovich theorizes maybe the afterlife is just a construct for humans to cope with grief. 100%. Very well could be a way that we help make sense and or meaning out of this life, or at least, like you said, just to cope. Yeah. What's up, Paulie? Yep, Kate and Colby show is back tonight, live, 7 p.m. So like 4.5 hours from now. We'll be there. Hope you're there too. Oh, Jennifer clarifies that the afterlife has always existed, but the concept changes as our awareness does. Yeah, I like that thought. Karen says other life instead of afterlife. That could be it too. I think we're cracking it here, people. Phil says, I take it future word. When humans develop AI to the point that synthetic life forms make moral choices, do they go to the afterlife? What about animals that seem sometimes to make moral choices? Oh, good gravy. Let's just not understand more things together here, Phil. Yeah. Will artificial consciousness experience some sort of post other life or again life or afterlife? I don't know. I just want to know if that is a thing, then who and why was the first one to get it? All right. The first afterlife story. How would anyone on earth know if nobody was here to share the story? I get that. That makes sense. I kind of like where you're going with that, Jennifer. I think you're onto something here. Hey, Angelo says maybe the angels kept them company. That's, hey, that could be it. That could be just exactly the answer that we needed. Maybe angels are real and maybe they do hang out in the afterlife and maybe they were like, oh, look, it's Murph. Maybe that was the name of the first Homo sapien. Look, Murph, you're here. Finally, we have someone other than Gabe and Mike to talk to. Yeah, that could be. Life has to do with consciousness, so a different form of energy without consciousness would not be the first form. I like it. Y'all are smart. You have good thoughts. You have good theories. Karen maintains that all dogs go to heaven. Melissa says, I'm still believing in a world that feels more like the afterlife. Yeah. On some days I feel that way too. I'm with you. Oh, Phil adds a +1 to Angelo. He likes the angel idea. So anyway, these, my friends, are 11 of the things I don't understand. To Phil's question earlier in the broadcast, no, it's not the only things, but they are currently 11 things that I don't understand. And I am grateful for this space to share them with you. Thank you for engaging with me on them. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I feel better about some of these. I feel more confused by others. I feel totally resolved by others of them. And it's been really nice to spend this time with you. I should be back next week on my regular schedule of getting Perspective Shift emailed out to you on Wednesday mornings. And then we'll be back here on the Perspective Shift show on 2 p.m. To discuss next week. I'm probably going to pick back up on the Authority of the Bible series because I think there's more meat to mine there if I can mix metaphors. We're going to mine some more meat out of the authority of the Bible. But go ahead, if you haven't done so yet, go to colbymartin.substack.com, subscribe to get Perspective Shift in your news box, and I will see you tonight, Paulie, and anybody else who wants to come back tonight, 7 p.m., the Kate and Colby show. We are kicking off, we got a string of like 9, the next 9 Wednesdays are going to be in Fuego. We got some fantastic guests lined up for you tonight. So I hope you come and join us there. Other than that, I will see you all next week. Trying to find my outro video. I should have been better prepared, but I'm not, and I'm fine with it. I'm even going to just sit here awkwardly just to let you know that I'm okay with the awkwardness. Wait, what? You're upstairs? At my house? Oh, no, you're just saying that you are aware that things have happened upstairs while we've had this chat. I'm excited to go find out what that is. Turns out some things have been happening upstairs. Now I'm going to hit the outro button. I love y'all. We'll see you next week. In this week's episode of Perspective Shift, I'm going to now invite you to do one of three things, or do them all if you're an overachiever. First, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to my free Perspective Shift newsletter. You can do that by going to colbymartin.substack.com. This will ensure that each week the articles that I write arrive safely in your inbox. Second, if you're watching this on YouTube, just go ahead and hit subscribe on my channel. That'd be awesome. And or if you're watching this on Facebook, would you click like on my page? For me, this is a win-win in that it helps me know that you're out there and that you care. Plus, it helps you know when I'm going live. For all my other work, including books that I've written or sermons that I've preached, head on over to colbymartinonline.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me live next week.